Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to this latest breakdown of WWE Raw. Let's start, shall we, with the Bloodline. They arrived ready for their match with Elias and Riddle. They were going to be defending the tag titles, the Usos. You could see here the truck in the background. I wanted to point this out because I'm sure it was mentioned on social media. You can see Cesaro on the truck. It's an old kind of decal, if you will. I don't believe that that's a message that Cesaro is coming back. They showed Rowan a few weeks ago as well. I don't think there's anything in this whatsoever. They just have not updated these trucks in a long, long time. But I thought I'd mention it because I'm sure it was doing the rounds on social media. But yes, this would lead to Solo beating up Elias. And so it would mean that Riddle would need a new tag partner. Sammy would call himself a certified Usologist, which was really funny. There was some good stuff in this open with this backstage bit and then a promo in the ring. Bottom line is this, though. We would get a new partner for Riddle, and that person would be revealed to be Kevin Owens. This was pretty cool, and it led to the first match. But unfortunately, it was a pretty straightforward win for the Usos. The numbers, of course, just too much. You had Sammy on the outside. You had Solo on the outside. And so it meant that Kevin Owens was distracted. He was dealt with. It left Riddle in the ring on his own. And the Usos working together to get the 1, 2, 3. But there was a big moment afterwards. And this is where Solo would actually start beating up on Riddle. And this is exactly what we need to see from Solo. We need Solo not to just stand there and look moody, but we need him to actually make some statements. And this was a statement. It was absolutely brilliant. He was destroying Riddle. There had to be a stretcher to stretcher him out. And here you can see, look, the stretcher in the background. And Solo putting his hood up and walking away. It was a really, really great moment. Love how they're presenting Solo Sikoa at the moment. Then we went backstage. You can see, look at that. Look at Big Dominik Mysterio. He is crying for the women's division because Rhea Ripley was saying that the whole locker room are going to start calling her Mammy soon. And there you can see Dom being very sympathetic towards the rest of the women. This was setting up a triple threat match. This was going to be Asuka versus Bayley versus Rhea Ripley. The winner would face the winner of the main event, which was Becky versus Nikki versus Alexa. The two winners would go head-to-head next week in a number one contenders match. So we were just hearing from Rhea Ripley here. We then went backstage to this JBL Poker Invitational. They do these segments once in a while where we get like loads of superstars backstage. And this was JBL putting on like a poker tournament. And there's a few feuds that come out of this. It's not brilliant, these parts, but there's a few feuds that do come out of it. A few matches and a few moments worth talking about. We'll get to those, though, because we keep revisiting that Poker Invitational throughout the show. Next up, we went to our first of those triple threat matches. Bayley made her way down to the ring. Becky came out. She's pointing to a girl's sign there that says, I think it says Big Time Bex. And she was just pointing out how great the sign was. She would get into the ring and she would get face-to-face with Bayley. This was nice. I really like this feud. I think these two are big, big superstars, and seeing them face to face, this is something that's quite juicy, and I'm quite excited to see these two squaring off. And there was some good stuff here as well. These two, as we said, they're on a collision course. There was basically Becky was praising Bayley for carrying the division and carrying the company during the lockdown Thunderdome era. Bayley turned to the crowd and she was like, you can cheer that if you want. And they booed. They were not feeling Bayley at all. Lots of Becky chants here, very much with Becky. They were just talking about their history and everything. And this was definitely interesting. This is setting up, as we said, a very interesting feud. Becky would leave the ring, basically wish Bayley the best of luck for this match. She would leave the ring and she would bump into the next person that was coming down, and that was Rhea Ripley. And this was really cool as well. This, again, look at the intensity from Rhea Ripley. She was just staring through Becky, and this was quite a while. Like, these two were fixed on each other. They were fixated by each other, and they circled round as Rhea went to the ring, and Becky made her way to gorilla position. This was a really great moment. There's some big females in this Raw division at the moment. There's some juicy matches that you can make. So Becky versus Bayley, Becky versus Rhea. I even said later on, what about Becky versus Alexa? I'd love to see that match one-on-one. So loads of big matches in this women's division. The match went underway. It was a little bit botchy in places. It wasn't too bad. It was a really good match all in all, but there were a few botches here and there. And actually, Asuka still wanted to keep fighting at the end. She delivered a missile dropkick. Bayley had to no-sell it, because I think Bayley knew it was time to go home. So she had to kind of no-sell it. I think she turned it into a Bayley to belly and got the 1, 2, 3. So a victory here for Bayley, and it seemed clean as well. Like, this all seemed pretty straightforward for Bayley. So a little bit disappointed that Asuka's being treated this way, but a good win for Bayley. Then we would see Rhea Ripley like beating up Asuka afterwards. I'm really hoping this is going to lead to something for Asuka. As I said, I really like Asuka. I really want to see us do something with Asuka. So seeing her just like taking losses all the time now is really disappointing. Like, considering how amazing and unstoppable she was when she was down in NXT. Then it was announced that we were going to be getting Bobby versus Seth #1 contenders match next week. It's pretty exciting. And the very next segment we would get would be Seth and Bobby. They would be face-to-face in the ring. Basically, Seth was saying to Bobby, like, you've been different since you faced Brock. Like, is it because you're scared of Brock and Brock coming back after you? Or maybe it's because you're jealous of Brock. And, of course, this led to a brawl. These two were brawling. What it actually led to was a WWE official being speared. And you can see the shock, the pure shock on the face of Adam Pearce. He would have a word with Bobby Lashley later in the show. He had loads of officials trying to separate these two. And, yeah, you can see Adam Pearce absolutely stunned by what went down. Then we went backstage. I don't know what this was, right? And I've included a picture because I don't know what this was. I don't think this is anything really of note. But obviously, as wrestling fans, we're sort of programmed now to look in the background. Here you can see a woman. I don't know who this woman is, but she seems to be doing something with the belt. I think LSW in our live chat said he thinks that she was maybe just giving it a clean before he was about to come and do this promo. So maybe this is something we were not meant to see. Maybe this is her just giving the belt a little bit of a clean, bit of a polish before he goes over and does this interview. And maybe we just came to this a moment too soon. I'm not too sure. But yeah, it was a bit weird seeing like this woman grabbing a hold of the United States belt. And don't know who she was, never saw her again. Either way, don't think it's important, but I thought it was worth pointing out. And then basically it led to this. So you can see Austin Theory and Mustafa Ali face to face. And this was really cool because Theory turned around and said, I never want to hear the word opportunity come out of your mouth again. I am going to give you a shot tonight. I'm going to beat you. And then I never want to hear the word opportunity out of your mouth again. I'm loving this Austin Theory. This version of Austin Theory is awesome. So loving all of this so far. And yeah, this set up quite a tasty match. Then we went back to this Poker Invitational. Dexter Lumis was at the table and he bought into the game. He was winning. He was doing really well. They started like moaning. Baron Corbin started moaning about it. And Dexter Lumis just put an axe onto the table. Little bit silly for me, but it is what it is. And so obviously they were like, no, it's fine. He's good. Let him keep playing. Over at the other table, we got Dominik Mysterio getting into it with Akira Tozawa. And this would set up a match for later on Raw. Then we went to the ring, and this was the Mustafa Ali versus Theory match. It was pretty good, but Dolph Ziggler interrupted. Dolph Ziggler came back and beat up Austin Theory. That meant that Mustafa Ali lost thanks to outside interference. So Mustafa Ali was very upset with Dolph Ziggler. Obviously, he was upset with Theory as well. This is an interesting dynamic at the moment. Seems like Ziggler's back to go after Theory. Mustafa Ali is going to be around as well. We know that next week we've got Bobby versus Seth, so there's loads happening with the United States Championship. Then we went backstage and we saw The Miz trying to get into play the poker tournament as well. JBL was saying that basically The Miz hasn't been very good at paying his debts. And The Miz said, well, I've got a Rolex. And JBL pointed out that it was actually fake. So this was probably the funniest part out of all of this backstage poker stuff. Then we went into the room and we saw a fight starting. JBL was getting upset. He didn't want any fights to be breaking out, so he was getting frustrated. But we saw the OC starting to square up to Baron Corbin and the Alpha Academy, and that would lead to a match later on in the show. Then we went to that match, actually. So this is the OC victorious over the Alpha Academy. JBL was on commentary, and he was livid at the fact that Corbin had been on the losing side. Then we went backstage and we saw Alexa. Obviously, all eyes on Alexa at the moment. I have done a separate video and put it up onto the Wrestling Days channel. So we've done a video breaking this down, but you can see Lily is back here backstage. And also the TV screen in the background does show Bray Wyatt's logo. Then we saw Candice. She was just talking about damage control. And in the background, peering round the corner, was Nikki Cross. You can sort of see her. She was quite well hidden this week. But yeah, she peered around the corner whilst Candice was talking. That's the second time that she's done that. She did that. I think it was last week. She was in the background. Then we went to the Akira Tozawa Dominik Mysterio match. It was a clean win for Dominik Mysterio. Judgment Day started beating up on Akira Tozawa. That actually brought down the Street Profits. So the Street Profits came down. So I don't know if we're going to be getting the Street Profits going into a feud now with Judgment Day, but they came down to help Akira Tozawa. Then backstage, we saw Adam Pearce talking to Bobby Lashley. He was basically saying, look, I know what happened earlier was an accident, but it cannot happen again. I can't have you spearing officials. Like, if it happens again, my hands are tied. It really feels like we're foreshadowing something. So, of course, I am expecting Bobby to spear an official next week, and then Adam Pearce is going to have to do something about that. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting, something to keep an eye on. Then we just got some announcements for next week's show. So we already know we've got Bobby versus Seth, but we're going to get Candice versus Io as well. And, of course, we were going to get the winner of our main event, which was Alexa versus Becky versus Nikki. They would be facing Bayley, who won earlier on in the show. This was going to be happening next week, and it is a number one contenders for the Raw Women's Championship. You can see that we got underway with our main event, and Alexa at one point got a Sister Abigail onto Becky Lynch. Then we got Damage Control attacking Becky, and the end result is that it is Alexa Bliss that picks up the win. Again, all of this is in that video on my other channel, the main channel, but this is interesting because I really think Alexa is going to win next week, and she will go on to face Bianca for that Raw Women's Championship. I think that Becky is going to want to get revenge on Damage Control and Bayley after being taken out of this main event. And so, as I said, I can see there being a path forward now for Alexa Bliss. And this is very interesting because Alexa obviously is connected with Bray at the moment. There's a few rumors that maybe she's already working with Bray. Maybe she's the masked person that's been attacking like LA Knight. I don't think she is, but it's an interesting thought that's kind of doing the rounds at the moment. So, yeah, I'm really into this. I thought this was a pretty solid show. I'd probably give it like a 7.25. It didn't blow my mind, but I was thoroughly entertained, easy to watch. Things happened on the show, and yeah, it was good. It was enjoyable, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and I will see you again next time. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.